What if the greatest love story of the 90s wasn't over? Imagine hearing the words, "Welcome back, Vivian," after more than 3 decades. That's the kind of magic Pretty Woman to promises. Julia Roberts and Richard Gere are stepping back into the roles that turn them into icons. And the trailer has already made fans across the world wonder, can a fairy tale romance survive the test of time? When Pretty Woman first released in 1990, it wasn't just another romantic comedy, it became a cultural event. The story of Edward, a wealthy businessman, and Vivian, a woman with dreams far bigger than her reality, showed audiences that love could cross boundaries, rewrite destinies, and create something unforgettable. The chemistry between Julia Roberts and Richard Gere didn't just spark on screen, it defined the genre for an entire decade. Julia's radiant smile and Richard's quiet charm created one of the most beloved pairs in Hollywood history. The film gave us moments that have been quoted, rewatched, remembered for years. Vivian's infectious laugh in the shopping scene, Edward climbing the fire escape with flowers, the limo driving into the sunset. These moments didn't just entertain us. They became part of pop culture. For over 30 years, fans have asked the same question. What happened after the credits rolled? Did Edward and Vivian really get their happily ever after? Or did life, time, and reality challenge their fairy tale ending? That's why Pretty Woman 2 feels so monumental. It's not just another sequel, it's a chance to revisit characters who shaped how audiences thought about love. The trailer teases this return in the most nostalgic way possible. From the very first frame, you feel a sense of familiarity, like meeting an old friend you haven't seen in decades. The trailer doesn't need flashy gimmicks, it leans on the powerful presence of Roberts and Gere, reminding everyone why their story mattered in the first place. The legacy of Pretty Woman is larger than just a love story. It became a symbol of hope for people who believed in second chances and new beginnings. It showed that love could happen in the most unexpected places, and that sometimes the person who changes your life arrives when you least expect it. The film also transformed Julia Roberts into America's sweetheart, winning her worldwide recognition and an Academy Award nomination. Richard Gere's Edward became the prototype of the charming yet vulnerable romantic lead. Together, they created a film that has aged like fine wine, one that still plays on TV screens, streaming platforms, and in the hearts of those who grew up with it. The sequel has the difficult task of honoring that legacy while telling a new story. But that's exactly what makes the trailer so compelling. It doesn't ignore the past, it embraces it. The visuals echo the style of the original film, the dialogue feels familiar yet mature, and the sense of nostalgia is strong enough to transport audiences back to 1990. Yet, there's something new here. An energy that suggests we're about to see these characters tested in ways we never imagined. Pretty Woman was about finding love. Pretty Woman 2 looks like it, we'll ask. How do you keep love alive? Asterisk, the trailer for Pretty Woman 2 doesn't waste a single second in pulling the audience back into the magic of this world. It opens with a shot that feels instantly familiar. The bright Los Angeles skyline at night, neon lights glowing against the dark horizon, just like the opening of the original film. But this time, the camera pans not to a young woman on Hollywood Boulevard, but to a woman who has lived, loved and grown, Vivian Ward, now older, wiser, yet still carrying that spark. In her eyes, Julia Roberts steps into frame, her smile softer, more thoughtful, but just as captivating as it was decades ago. That single moment sets the tone of the trailer. This isn't about recreating the past. It's about exploring what happens after the fairy tale. From there, the trailer wastes no time in giving us glimpses of Edward Lewis, played once again by Richard Gere. He appears in his signature tailored suit, standing in front of a boardroom, but there's a noticeable difference. He's no longer the confident, unshakable businessman who swept Vivian off her feet. Instead, the trailer shows a man carrying the weight of years, a man who has experienced victories, but also regrets. His first line in the trailer is quiet, almost bittersweet. It's been a long time since I believed in happy endings. That single line tells us that. Edward and Vivian's journey hasn't been all smooth sailing. One of the most striking moments in the trailer comes when Vivian and Edward meet again. The setting is elegant yet simpler, hotel lobby filled with soft golden light. The trailer captures the exact moment Edward turns, sees Vivian, and freezes, his expression shifting from surprise to something much deeper: recognition. Vivian responds with a gentle laugh, a laugh that feels like an echo from the first film, reminding the audience of that iconic shopping scene. It's in that exchange, wordless yet powerful, that the trailer proves its emotional weight. Isn't just a reunion for the characters, it's a reunion for audiences who have waited decades to see these two share the screen again. The trailer also teases conflict, refusing to paint the story as purely nostalgic. There are shots of Vivian walking away in the rain, her face hidden by an umbrella, while Edward calls out after her. There's a tense dinner table scene where both characters sit in silence, the air thick with unspoken words. A quick flash of new characters, possibly a daughter or a young protege of Vivian, and a younger business rival challenging Edward. These glimpses suggest that the sequel won't just rely on its past, but will introduce fresh dynamics that force Edward and Vivian to confront not just their relationship, but the lives they've built apart. Another key detail in the trailer is the music. It's just like the first film gave us Roy Orbison's "Oh, Pretty Woman" as an anthem. The sequel's trailer leans heavily on nostalgia. It begins with a soft piano version of that same song, slowed down and more emotional almost, like a lullaby. But as the trailer builds, the music swells into a full orchestral arrangement, blending old and new, signaling that this story will honor the past while moving forward into new territory. That clever use of music instantly connects audiences to the original film, tugging at their memories while preparing them for something different. Visually, the trailer balances glamour with intimacy. We see sweeping shots of Los Angeles high-rises, luxury hotels, and gala events, all reminiscent of Edward's world of wealth. But we also see quieter moments. Vivian sitting in a cafe, Edward looking out over the ocean, both lost in thought. This duality between the glossy surface and the raw emotion beneath was what made the first film so powerful. And the trailer makes it clear the sequel will carry that same balance. The final moments of the trailer are designed to leave fans gasping. Vivian is shown standing at the top of a staircase in a red evening gown, a direct callback to the original's iconic dress. Edward looks up at her, visibly shaken, as if transported back to the moment he first fell in love. Then, just before, the trailer fades to black. Vivian delivers a line that has already become the most quoted part of the teaser. Happily ever after isn't the end of the story. It's only the beginning. With that, the screen cuts to the title, Pretty Woman 2. The release date flashes, and the trailer ends, leaving fans desperate for answers. Asterisk, the most intriguing thing about the Pretty Woman 2 trailer is not just what it shows, but what it hints at. Unlike the original film, which was about discovering love, self-worth, and the courage to change, this sequel seems to be about endurance. Can love truly last when decades have passed, when people have evolved, and when the world around them looks nothing like it did before? That is the unspoken question running through every frame of the trailer. And it's what makes the story feel richer and more layered than a simple reunion. One of the clearest themes that comes through is the idea of time and transformation. Vivian was once the wide-eyed dreamer plucked out of a difficult life and given a second chance at happiness. Now she is a woman who has lived through those dreams and faced the realities that come after the fairy tale ends. Her character no longer represents the hope of change, but the wisdom of experience. Edward, too, has transformed. Once a man defined by money and power, he now appears as someone questioning the value of everything he built. Their journey in the sequel seems less about falling in love and more about rediscovering the bond that held them together in the first place. This theme is powerful because it mirrors the audience's own lives, those who watched the first film in 1990 are now older, is facing their own questions about what lasts and what fades. Another theme teased in the trailer is the tension between fantasy and reality. The first Pretty Woman thrived on the Cinderella narrative, showing a woman from humble beginnings swept into a glamorous new life. But the sequel seems to challenge that idea. Was the fantasy sustainable? Did Vivian and Edward live happily ever after in the mansion, or did real-world pressures careers, family, personal dreams chip away at the illusion? The shot of Vivian walking away in the rain suggests heartbreak, while Edward's line about not believing in happy endings points to disillusionment. These hints suggest that the film will tackle what happens after the magic fades. It's asking whether true love can survive when stripped of its fairy tale packaging. A third theme is second chances. The line Vivian delivers at the end of the trailer, "Happily ever after isn't the end of the story. It's only the beginning," feels like a mission statement for the entire film. It implies that the characters may have drifted apart, made mistakes, or even lost each other at some point. But now, years later, they are being given another chance to choose love. This resonates deeply with audiences because everyone understands the weight of second chances. Whether in relationships, careers, or personal growth, life rarely gives people do-overs. Watching Edward and Vivian explore this possibility adds both tension and hope, making the sequel emotionally grounded. The trailer also hints at generational contrasts. We catch glimpses of younger characters, perhaps Vivian's daughter or a mentee, and possibly a young businessman challenging Edward. These characters aren't just side plots. They could represent the new generation's perspective on love, ambition, and independence. While Vivian and Edward symbolize enduring love tested by time, the younger characters may bring in fresh, modern views on relationships, gender roles, and personal freedom. This dynamic could allow the story to bridge nostalgia with relevance, ensuring that the sequel speaks not only to fans of the original, but also to today's audiences. Then there's the theme of legacy. The original Pretty Woman left a cultural mark, and the sequel seems keenly aware of it. Shots of Vivian in her red gown or Edward staring out at Los Angeles are not just visual callbacks. They're reminders that love stories carry legacies, just like people do. The film seems poised to ask, what do we leave behind in our relationships? Is it memories, mistakes, or lessons that endure? For Vivian and Edward, the answer may determine whether they can build something lasting in the present. Finally, the trailer stirs speculation about conflict. The tension-filled dinner scene, the rain-soaked goodbye, and Edward's haunted expression suggests obstacles that go beyond simple misunderstandings. Could the film be exploring betrayal, distance, or even health struggles that test the strength of their bond? While the trailer doesn't reveal specifics, it does enough to spark conversations. Viewers are already theorizing online. Did Edward and Vivian separate years ago? Did they raise a family together? Is this sequel about rekindling what they lost, or about finding closure? These themes elevate Pretty Woman 2 from being just a nostalgic sequel to something deeper. It's not just about revisiting beloved characters, but about confronting life's hardest truths through them. In many ways, the story seems less like a continuation of a fairy tale and more like a reflection of real love, the kind that ages, bends, breaks, and, if lucky, finds its way back. Asterisk, one of the biggest reasons why the trailer for Pretty Woman 2 has sparked such massive attention is the cast. Julia Roberts and Richard Gere are not just returning as actors, they are returning as living symbols of a film that defined an era. Seeing them side by side again after decades feels like Hollywood history repeating itself, a reminder that some on-screen partnerships transcend time. Julia Roberts, now in her late 50s, still carries that unmistakable glow that made Vivian Ward unforgettable. In the trailer, her performance radiates maturity without losing the mischievous charm audiences fell in love with. She's no longer playing the wide-eyed dreamer of the 90s. Instead, she embodies a woman who has experienced life in all its highs and lows, not a role that feels perfectly tailored to the Julia Roberts of today. Richard Gere's return as Edward Lewis is equally impactful. In the original, he was the suave, commanding businessman whose icy exterior melted when he let love in. Now in the sequel, he brings a deeper layer, man shaped by years of decisions, regrets, and wisdom. Gere, known for his understated elegance and emotional restraint, seems to embrace Edward's transformation with authenticity. The trailer's brief glimpses of his performance suggest that we'll see not just a businessman, but a man vulnerable to love, loss, and the weight of his past choices. Fans who grew up with Gere as the ultimate romantic lead will feel an undeniable wave of nostalgia, but also a thrill in watching how he reinvents Edward for a new generation. Beyond the two leads, the trailer hints at fresh faces who could play crucial roles in this story. While names are kept under wraps, speculation is already running wild. A younger actress glimpsed in a few scenes is believed to be playing Vivian's daughter or someone she mentors, symbolizing a new generation carrying forward the themes of independence and ambition. Another actor seen briefly in a tense business scene with Edward could represent a younger rival, a reminder that the corporate world Edward once dominated is no longer his alone. These additions may serve as more than supporting roles. They could be the bridge between the past and the present, grounding Vivian and Edward's journey in a world that has changed dramatically since 1990. Behind the camera, the production team has also drawn attention. The original Pretty Woman was directed by Gere, whose lighthearted but heartfelt style shaped the film into an instant classic. With his passing in 2016, the sequel carries the responsibility of honoring his legacy while forging a new direction. According to early reports, the film is helmed by a director known for blending romance with depth, someone who understands that this story requires more than glossy. It's nostalgia. While the trailer doesn't reveal much about the filmmaking style, the tone suggests a careful balance. Glamorous Hollywood spectacle paired with grounded human emotion. A formula Marshall himself would have approved of. The screenplay is rumored to have been shaped by writers who are not only skilled at romantic storytelling, but also deeply aware of the cultural significance of Pretty Woman. They seem determined to avoid making the sequel a hollow cash grab, instead crafting a story that feels authentic to the characters and the world they once inhabited. The dialogue snippets we hear in the trailer, Edward's somber reflection, Vivian's hopeful declarations sound natural, not forced. This gives fans confidence that the sequel will respect the intelligence of its audience while giving them the emotional payoff they've waited decades for. On the production side, the visuals and set design shown in the trailer suggest a deliberate echo of the original film's aesthetic. Luxurious hotels, sweeping Los Angeles skylines. Elegant ballrooms all are back, but with a modern polish that feels updated without losing the fairy tale glamour. Costuming, too, plays an important role. Vivian's red gown is a direct callback to the iconic dress from the first film, while Edward's tailored suits remind us of his enduring identity as a man of wealth and refinement. These visual choices are not accidental. They are carefully crafted to spark recognition while also signaling growth. Perhaps what excites fans most is that Julia Roberts and Richard Gere are not just reprising roles, they're reuniting as collaborators. Over the years, both have spoken fondly of each other in interviews, and their off-screen friendship has fueled their on-screen chemistry. Bringing them back together in 2026 feels like a gift not only to audiences, but to Hollywood itself. A rare chance to witness two legends stepping back into characters that changed their careers. For many, watching the trailer feels like attending a reunion between old friends, where the familiarity is comforting, but the possibilities are endless. With this cast and production team, Pretty Woman 2 is more than a sequel, it's a statement. It says that some stories deserve to be revisited, not because they can be repeated, but because they can be deepened. Julia Roberts and Richard Gere are not just playing Vivian and Edward again. They're bringing decades of life, artistry, and wisdom into these roles. The production seems committed to delivering a film that doesn't simply ride on nostalgia, but builds something meaningful on top of it. And if the trailer is any indication, audiences are about to experience a sequel that honors the past while boldly stepping into the future.